everyone, welcome back again to your two favorite boys, right? This is the Iconist Podcast. I'm one of your hosts. I am Barry 3D for Deep Dark Delicious. Hey, and on my side is my cousin,
DJ Rod C. Okay, I'm here. Yo, what's up, people? We're here. We're having some fun today. Welcome to another episode of Iconist.
Yes, sirree. Another episode. We are back. I would say they haven't canceled us yet, but they can't cancel us. Okay, well, we don't want cancel culture. Another thing. All right, skip it.
Cancel electricity. That'd be the only way. That's the way you can cancel it officially. Cancel the electricity. Give up the power. Woo-wee.
Ooh-wee. Yes, we were just talking about off camera about Rick and Morty, but yeah, so it's all good. We'll cover that one. But so going back. Let's get it out the way. We're going to do our regular housekeeping. So first and foremost, hey, look, I'm going to put it up a picture of here. I'm wearing my new Iconist Podcast shirt. So I'm going to just tilt the camera down for those who can see. Right on. So this is the Iconist Podcast shirt. If you want to get a shirt like this, you can go to barry3d.com. Just follow the links on Iconist for there, and you'll see there's a tab for the merch. So that will take you over to our merch store, which is Redbubble. And you can get shirts with our logo on it, different colors. So we got t-shirts, we got long sleeve shirts, we've got tote bags, water bottles. We got hoodies, zip up hoodies, pullover hoodies, all that stuff with the Iconist Podcast merch on it. And you can even find some of my own personal merch for Barry 3D. So, check it out, wear a shirt, show your support. We'll love it. Tag us in there if you do it. That would be awesome. Right? On that note, also, we're going to big shout out to my buddy Jimmy English. He has his podcast called Back to the Balcony, which talks about all movies from the 80s. He's actually expanding that. So it's going to cover all movies where he's got on other comedians as guest hosts. And they pick a movie and they just go through all the unknown facts about it, what drew them to it, what they liked, what they didn't like. And it's a nice, fun back and forth banter on this movie. And he's got he started season 2 and he's got a couple episodes going. He's got some doozies coming up and I will be on there again. So if you go on to barry3d.com, go over to my blog, check out my blog, see the past episodes I was on. You can find all those. And you'll see when the new ones I'm gonna be on there. I'm gonna post some more as soon as those will get released. Then we have my buddy Paul Ash, right? And he has Battlecom. So look at Paul Ash. He's on Facebook. Look him up. Battlecom. It's a nerd game show. So much fun. They have a live participation. So they do this live every second Wednesday, I believe it is. And, as an audience, you can log in, you can watch it live on YouTube, you can watch it live on Facebook and other media he has. So you can watch it live and you can actually participate live as a home audience. So that's great to have that. That is for sure. And a huge shout out for the man, the myth, the legend. You probably saw him on one of our other episodes, or you heard him on one of our episodes. He's the one that designed the templates that we have here for our show. He designed the shirt I'm wearing. So I'll put a picture up on there so you'll see it properly. Me in the shirt there, the Iconist Podcast shirt and our logo for that, the Barry 3D stuff. So all that was all done by the one and only Jay Bird. Jay Bird. Hell yeah. So we'll pop up his deep on here. And at the end of the video, you'll definitely see those. And for those we've got now our official podcast page. So not only are you getting the videos every Tuesday, every Wednesday you get the podcast. So you can, if you don't have time to watch it and you want, or you're sick of seeing us but you just want to hear us, that's great. Then go and get the official podcast from our podcast page. Link on barry3d.com once again, or you can just go to Iconist. So that's ICONIS. Period. Podbean. Period. We don't have to com. There we go. Let's try this again. So it's Iconist, period. Podbean. Period. Com. There we go. So you can't go wrong with there, and you'll see us on other platforms. So right now we are on Spotify, we're on iHeartRadio, we with our podcast site, we're on Google Podcasts, so you can find us through there. And soon, to be hopefully by the time this one comes up, you'll see us through iTunes and anything affiliated with that. So you can always go send their comments. Go on to the website, download the episodes, take it, let us know what you think, send the comments. All the past episodes that we've done since we started this are up on that page. So you don't have to wait for it. Just remember, videos on Tuesday, audio on Wednesday. When audio is lined up with comic book day. Right?
Good sense.
Yeah. And I said, check us on our social media, and you can still see me live for as much as it's open right now. So I'm still going around doing my comedy shows and still performing across, Ontario and Canada a little bit. So as safe as possible, and keeping it safe. And that's it. Really, I don't think I've missed anybody, but I'll turn this over to DJ Rod C. Where we can find you, man.
Listen, man, you know what? I'm easy doing, man. You can find me on Instagram, Mr. Rod C, MRRODC. You can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/DJ Rod C. Listen, I'm out here having fun, playing some music and good stuff, just did a little promotional stuff, just this past weekend, with, the Bajan Kitchen. So you can find them on Instagram at The Bajan Kitchen. Great restaurant, great Bajan West Indian food. It's a great atmosphere and everything like that. So definitely something to, take a note. Make sure you hit that follow button with them and let them know, hey, Rod C sent you. All right. But hey, let's not even worry about all that. We're going to get into what we got to talk about today.
Yes, we are. And today, we've covered, different things that I call my fears, right? Because clearly everyone knows I don't like spiders, but I like Spider-Man. And we've covered Spider-Man 2099. Bless. While we're on this, we're going to go back and we're talking about Spider-Woman. We're talking about the original Spider-Woman from back in the day. Mm-hmm. And talking about Jessica Miriam Drew, the Spider-Woman, mm-hmm. Right? So this character was created back in 1977. Her first appearance was Marvel Spotlight issue number 32, 1977. I know a lot of you were like, 1977? I was like, yeah, I was around in 1977. So, okay, I can respect that. And she's got a strange history. So she's not fighting your classical villains, right? Just to give you a rundown, when she came about, so she started off in Marvel Spotlight, and then she had her other appearance after that, which was in Marvel 2-in-1 with The Thing. So when The Thing had his own kind of solo team up series, right, he would team up with different heroes. I mean, this doesn't exist now, but any old school fan would understand that. And it's something still to check out because, you had a Marvel team up, Amazing Spider-Man Marvel team up. But The Thing 2-in-1 was Thing from the Fantastic Four would do his own solo issues. So prior to everyone knowing Wolverine being everywhere, Ben Grimm, the Thing, teamed up with a lot of heroes. So there was a good story arc about maybe 4 issues, I think it was, with Jessica Drew, Spider-Woman, teaming up with the Thing and him helping her really advance her storyline until she got her own comic book series. Mm-hmm. And that ran for about 50 issues, if I remember correctly. And if I'm wrong, people, please correct me. But yes. So, and she had her own things. And the reason why that came about was it was really, it's so funny. So it was created by Archie Goodwin and Maria Severin. Those are the two creators of the character. And just to give you a little tidbit here. So you have Spider-Woman that was created in 1977 by Marvel Comics. But at the same time, you had a cartoon company called Filmation. Everyone knows who Filmation is because it's, I have the power. And if you didn't watch those episodes that we did, flashback.
Just check it out. Let's go back.
Check it. Just jump on back. So back then, everyone's always racing and trying to keep the copyrights on who has what at the time, right? Mm-hmm. So Filmation was working on their cartoon, and it was called Web Woman. Now, Web Woman, and we'll talk about some more Filmation stuff because this is what I grew up on, and I liked it, and I'm buying some of the DVDs just to have in my collection. So Web Woman's primary alias, her real name, an origin story, and a list of abilities and equipment she had to be revised after Marvel Comics learned of Filmation's associates' plan. So Marvel really quick turned around and made Spider-Woman, right? And gave her the name, Jessica Drew, or her full name, Jessica Miriam Drew, and put her in the pages of Marvel Spotlight to get that ownership and copyright to beat Filmation. So Filmation had to turn around. They had Web Woman that they were ready to come up with. Marvel caught wind of it and said, oh, no, we have Spider-Man, Spider-Woman. This is why you have Hulk and She-Hulk. It's just to other companies are ready to do something like that. And Marvel just jumped on the bandwagon to keep that all in-house.
Keep that name together. Yep.
Keep it all. Yeah, exactly. Beat the copyright. So this is why Web Woman, even though the cartoon was around, they had to change a lot of her origin around.
Mm-hmm.
So speaking of origins,
very interesting.
Right? It's because you've been reading a lot of the Spider-Man stuff, Spider-Woman stuff, right?
Yes. So, I mean, okay, we're going to go right into that. So her origins are very unique in the sense of how she obtained it.
They lied to her.
What? Yo.
They lied to her.
You know what? The closest, and I'm not gonna go too far off, but when you look at the Marvel Hulk story,
yes,
and this is more of not the Mark Ruffalo, but oh my Lord, I went blank. Who was
Eric Bana?
Eric, not Eric Bana. No, sorry, it was Paul.
Ed Norton.
Ed Norton. So on that particular storyline, is that when they said, oh no, sorry, my bad. It was Eric. It was Eric. So the one where they're saying like his father was the one who induced him.
Yes.
So it has that type of similarity. So when I start reading this, basically, if you're not catching what we're telling you, that poor Jessica didn't get her powers by herself. Poor Jessica was duped, bamboozled.
Duped.
Duped, bamboozled. She was
hornswoggled.
Hornswoggled. Huff and pfeffer. Huff and pfeffer. Here, bright shiny objects. Whoa, what's that? It was unfortunately like that my poor girl got you know what? Hold my mouth. I was about to say the V word. What's going on currently right now, and I said, "Oh, I'm going to stop myself before I get myself in any trouble."
Yeah, there you go.
She got juke up in her arm. So her father came and told her, "Just stand over here, little girl. Juke up in your arm." So, telling her that she had some type of illness and just required her to get these type of treatments.
Yeah.
And the sad thing is that she didn't have no problem. Her father was experimenting on her.
Well, you see now. Yes and no. So she did have a slight problem, right?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. You will remind me. All right. So maybe I just went too far already.
No. It's okay. So she did have a slight problem. So what happened is, going back, her father. So she had her parents. It was her. Now a lot of this is gonna get mind wiped till she remembers later on. Right. What happened is a little girl. She was about maybe 10 years old, and her father was working. Prior to the guy took up his identity, the High Evolutionary.
Right. Sorry.
So High Evolutionary was working on genetics, and he's the one who made the Knights of Wendigo and turning animals into and giving them like
humanoid form.
Exactly, humanoid form, and they had their emotions and they were able to speak and all that. So he would turn a lion into like a almost a human kind of thing, but he still had all his qualities. He still looked like a lion, looked like a talking lion, right? So and so forth. So he was working with her. So then the two scientists, one was really working on genetic evolution, and Jessica's father was working on certain aspects like spiders and insects, and trying to use the qualities that these insects would have to maybe help battle what people are going through right now in the long run, right? So how to survive any kind of maybe cancer and radiation and so forth like that. Radiation, once again, Marvel. So what happened is Jessica got sick with uranium poisoning. Yeah. She got uranium poisoning.
Yeah, I remember seeing that. Yeah.
At the age of 10, she wasn't doing well. The father came in there, and the High Evolutionary, this is before he was a High Evolutionary, so forgive me name-wise, had her in this like little kind of chamber to slow, kind of almost like a suspended animation chamber, just to slow her down so she wouldn't get poisoned as fast, but she was still getting poisoned. The mom was freaking out. Obviously, the father came in there and says, I have this serum that's derived from a spider that could help her, but it needs time to gestate. It won't happen right away. So he injected her, with the venom, and then the High Evolutionary was using his ray to kind of slow it down or hers down, but then speed up the process of the venom going through her system. The stress was too much for her mom. So her mom ended up passing away, and the father just went full throttle trying to save her, because that's their only child, right? And this is over in England and out in Wendigo, or where the High Evolutionary kind of resided at that point.
Right.
So this is all happening, and they kind of get her up, and that's where I say they lied to her. But then at one point, our introduction to her is completely different. So, and they do cover that in the back, right? So, our first step in when we see her, first panel, she's in the UK, she's in the Spider-Woman costume, and it's not like what you're seeing behind us with the Spider-Woman costume she has on right now. It's very similar, but her hair didn't show. It was a full skull cap, so you didn't even see her hair, but the costume was very reminiscent of what she has on now. And she see her gliding in, she breaks into a SHIELD, headquarters, and then in the back, their backstory, you find out that she gets her powers, she's in a little small town, she's talking to some guy. Some people started teasing her or bugging her with this guy that she liked. And then she ends up, unintentionally throwing out a venom blast from her hands. Like it's a paralyzing ray. She gets like chased and hunted, and then she loses her memory. Something happens. She loses her memory, but then she gets found. She gets found by Hail Hydra. Hail Hydra. So they lied to her. They took, that she blocked out that memory, or she got hit on the head and she just had amnesia, and they came across her, right? Because they saw that she had certain abilities. So she's got the speed, the strength. She can glide. She shoots venom bolts from her hand,
Right.
So as her power. So they took her, right, and realized, we have a potential asset here. And then started saying, well, we see she seems lost, because at the time she was like 17. So she seems lost. She doesn't know who she is. We'll take her on. We'll help you out. Like, we're this organization. Don't worry about it. We'll help you, train you to find out what's going on. And they put this mind probe on her. And the time they had the mind probe on her, one, they're extracting information from her, but at the same time, they're putting suggestions in her head.
To her.
Yeah, so it was an in and out kind of thing. They had an input audio on her. Yeah. Rod would get that DJ joke.
Yeah. She was an ox cord.
Yeah. So they turned around, they did all that. And when they did that, they realized, what her real origin was, but they didn't tell her. They just told her, and she had flashes of the High Evolutionary in his armor at this point, blasting her with this ray, giving her powers. So they turned around and said, the High Evolutionary just experiments on animals, right? She's like, uh-huh. She's like, you're not a human. You're a spider turned into a human. What? She can't remember if she had mom and dad. She thought she was literally a spider turned into a human.
Right.
Yo, the 70s was happening, man. So Hydra trained her. They said that, the High Evolutionary kind of made her this way. She tried, they used the information that she did meet someone, but she really was a spider, not a human. So she was pretending to be human. She saw someone she liked. They use that same information of, you were there and you cast one of your venom blast.
Right.
The town started chasing you, pretty much like how they did Nightcrawler, started chasing you. And we came and we saved you. We saved you, but now we know who, and then they planted that they had one of their Hydra agents that was her trainer, play extra nice with her. So they would form an emotional attachment, that they were boyfriend and girlfriend, right? And then he got captured by SHIELD. How dare they? The evil SHIELD has captured your boyfriend. We've trained you to go over there. And you know who's responsible? Nick Fury.
Right.
So they orchestrated this whole thing, pretty much turning her as a super secret agent.
Yeah, a sleeper cell, not a sleeper, but basically a secret agent, basically saying, we're the good ones we're doing humanity and the world good.
Right.
That's SHIELD. They're just full of evilness, and their leader, Nick Fury. Remember that name? Okay.
Yeah.
And that's it.
He's captured your boyfriend. What are you going to do about it? I'm going to go and get him. Right on. P.S. If you see Nick Fury, kill him. Right on.
Right on.
And that's what happened. They orchestrated the whole thing that Nick Fury knew there was double agents within SHIELD. It seems like Hydra infiltrated SHIELD. So he flew out there and she timed her break-in by the time he was arriving because Hydra had some stuff. Of course, there was double agents. Right. Huh, that storyline sounds familiar. Double agents, Hydra infiltrates S.H.I.E.L.D. Where did I see that? Oh, in the MCU movies. That's right. Here we are in 2021, and that was all the way back in 1977. Know your source material. Source material. Right? That's one instance right there. So she gets in there. She sneaks in. Her so-called boyfriend is there. She sees big fight breaks out.
Yep.
Everyone's battling. She gets Nick Fury. She takes out all the agents. She sees Nick Fury. She's about to choke the living out of Nick Fury. The boyfriend gets in between, because he holds on, and she throws a blast, and Nick Fury flips him over, and she ends up shooting her boyfriend because Nick Fury did a judo flip on, with her boyfriend because her boyfriend was behind, and she ended up zapping him, and then realized that, the boyfriend kind of said, well, don't touch me. You're really a spider. And I was just doing what I had to be done. It's like, you're not a human. You're really a spider. Icky. Pretty much what I just faked it. So then she's enraged. Now the truth is starting to come out. Like, wait a minute. I was just used by Hydra. So she just takes off out of there. Doesn't even try to be stealthy about it. Right? Gets on the ship that she brought. Went back to the Hydra base. And puts that thing on autopilot and lets it crash land into the Hydra headquarters, which was an old castle. And she goes after the Supreme Hydra then. And they start battling out. But sure enough, Nick Fury ain't no fool. It's like, follow that craft. So when she breaks in, she's backed up by a whole bunch of Hydra S.H.I.E.L.D. agents.
S.H.I.E.L.D. agents, yep.
Big shootout goes on. He's like, I can tell you the truth, but you got to save me. That's the Supreme Hydra, so to speak. And that's how she goes out. So at this point, she's got her origin, which isn't true. Mm-hmm. She's been used and duped. You already introduced her into the spy world, which I liked because Spider-Man, you're gonna have Spider-Man and Spider-Woman having similar things in New York, and no, she's right there. So when you see the current comics with her being with Nick Fury, and she's with the Avengers currently, Nick Fury and the Avengers, and of course S.H.I.E.L.D. It makes sense if you look at her origin. Her origin, she always came in as a spy.
Right. She
wasn't trained, but she was used, and and between Hydra and S.H.I.E.L.D. So you can see why she ain't happy.
Yeah, you're telling me one thing, and all of a sudden, what do you mean? You're the good guys? So people I just left are the bad guys? Yeah. So, depending how far her mind went, she just said, "That's it. Forget. I'm just going to, like you said, go back, clean up who messed me up, and then basically disappear."
Yes.
So that was. Anyway, you go.
Right. So, and which is interesting is because Marvel Spotlight would do like a couple of maybe 1, 2, 3 story arcs sometimes in one single issue. So with Spider-Woman, it was a single issue, and we've covered this before. We talked about Deathlock, the Demolisher. Right. He shows up in the very next issue and his own story run. So pretty much Spider-Woman showed up, boom, it was one and done. Just so Marvel can keep the rights, so this way they can kind of block Filmation, and they had to do a rewrite on the origin on their character, Web Woman. Then they did Deathlock the Demolisher. Now, I mentioned this for a particular reason, and we'll see why. So now, go for it. So the next time we see her is a little bit later, and it's the Thing, and, Marvel 2-in-1 with the Thing, and the Thing's over in the UK, and he's with his girlfriend, Alicia Masters, who's blind, if you don't know, and they're just there on vacation. And then while they're on vacation, he ends up, Marvel Thing 2-in-1, he always teams up with somebody, right? So this was one of the earlier meetings where, the Thing's walking, Alicia comes downstairs, and then she sees someone just jump in, and it startles her. So she screams. She's like, "Oh my God, Ben! Who's there?" Of course, now, when you're saying Ben, and you don't know who Ben is, you're expecting a person. You're not expecting an orange rock moving mass, so to speak, to come running down the stairs. But he comes running down the stairs saying, "Alicia!" And he comes running down the stairs, and who's standing in the doorway? Shang-Chi, master of Kung Fu. And Shang-Chi and the Thing get into a fist fight. Right?
What are the odds? What are the odds?
Marvel, fight it out before you talk it out.
You know?
But yeah, right. And Shang-Chi is out right now, right? Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings is out right now. This character is finally being introduced into the MCU. So this is to show you how many ties are going back and forth. So Shang-Chi thing, they get into a full-out fist fight, and he's using all his techniques, and he's causing the thing, he's giving the thing a run for his money. The thing gets him in a bear hug, and he's not holding on, and Shang is hitting him in the ears and the eyes and the throat and all these different strikes. And of course, his hands are so, like, they're weapons. Like, hitting stone doesn't really bother him. And at one point, the thing starts crushing on him, a bear hug, and he flips back, and he's able to push the thing off. The thing weighs a couple of 100 pounds.
Right.
It's just to show you that he used his own momentum. His fighting style is so advanced that it's that deadly. He could take on a super powered foe and hold his own. Right. Mm-hmm. And so, of course, Shang-Chi and the Thing team up. They go through their whole adventure. Last panel of that book, who shows up? Jessica Jones. They find her in suspended animation. Once again, Hydra's there.
Jessica Drew.
Jessica Drew.
Yes, just Drew.
Yeah, my bad. Jessica Drew, right? Thank you, Rod. I was in the moment, and right. And so Jessica Drew, and they find her, and you see Hydra's there. They recaptured her. They showed how they recaptured her. They've extracted some of her blood, so now they have the serum to make their own army of super soldiers. Mm-hmm. Huh? I think I heard about that before.
Yeah, might have heard somewhere like that.
Evil organization trying to get super soldiers. Organization trying to build MCU.
Hail Hydra again.
Hail Hydra. Here we go again. So once again, she's brought back into that world. So it goes into the storyline of, she finally gets free. So, Master Kung Fu kind of does this thing, goes his way. I think they teamed up one more issue, and thing. It was like 3-story arc with or 4 with the thing. The Marvel team up with the Thing 2-in-1. Thing 2-in-1. That's it. That's what it's called. So Ben Grimm, the Thing, teams up with Shang-Chi. Then, of course, S.H.I.E.L.D. shows up again. They get into a whole storyline with that. Jessica is still kind of lost. She's against Hydra, but then she gets captured. So they brainwashed her again. She got Wolverined. She got brainwashed again, back into the fold of Hydra. She says, okay, you guys got my blood. You want to make a soldier. Who do we attack? Well, the Thing's here, but so's Alicia Masters. So she kidnaps Alicia Masters from right underneath the Thing, and they put the serum in Alicia Masters. They brainwash her too, and then she gets the spider arms coming out of her back. And of course during all this, Jessica remembers and breaks her brainwashing. She remembers her true story. So at this point she remembers her mom, her dad, the High Evolutionary, what happened, her true origin. And she realizes, I was always human. I wasn't a spider that got turned into a human by the High Evolutionary. That's when that whole true origin comes out. They save Alicia Masters. They turn her back to human. And then the following issue, is it's her, but Invisible Woman teams up now with the Thing to help save Alicia. And and what I found interesting is our doctor. Oh my gosh, in that series. So I got to go back for half a second. I had it here but I'll keep talking. But in that series, the last panel with the doctor that saves Alicia and has taken the radiation out of her is he's in the background. You see Alicia on the table, and you see Deathlock the Demolisher, because he's saving him at the same time too. Dr. Klaus or Clout. Oh my gosh. And my apologies, but yeah. So it just shows you that in Marvel, in the Marvel spotlight, where they brought her in, the next issue was Deathlock the Demolisher. And then this one doctor is saving Alicia and turning her back into a pure human, getting rid of the serum out of her body. And in the background, clear as day, you see Deathlock the Demolisher, because he goes, oh, I had to save him too from some things going on. So it was nice to see that crossover. Again, even though they didn't talk, this doctor was the key to both of them. And I'm like, now we talking. This now that makes sense to me. That I was all like super happy about that. You can't. Yeah, that was some Hold on, I won't find his name, Rod. I won't find his name.
No, no, do it.
You know, this is one thing. Yeah, okay, yeah. They had it fighting, and she fights a lot of supernatural too. That's the other crazy thing. She fights a lot of supernatural people in also. So in the UK, it's like, okay, who's she fighting? Oh well, she's teamed up with fighting Mordred. So her origins, I mean, bringing her into the MCU, how they went about it. So let me just see here. So yeah, so it was Marvel 2-in-1 presents The Thing and Master Kung Fu. So that was issue number 29, right? Back when comics were 30 cents. Wow. That story was called Two Against Hydra, and then in Marvel 2-in-1 presents The Thing and Spider-Woman, right? Battling over London for the life of Alicia Masters. So that's where they kind of teamed up, but she was still kind of an anti-villain, or anti-hero at this point, because she was brainwashed, things trying to help her. So, and this is going back. And then of course, Marvel 2-in-1 Thing presents. Okay, so it was issue number 31. And that's where she got turned, Alicia Master gets turned into that kind of half hybrid spider thing. She's trying to kill both of them, kill Spider-Woman and the Thing. And you see she was, brainwashed, right? And then in Marvel 30, and then, Marvel 2-in-1 presents Thing and the Invisible Woman in issue number 32. And this is where they go through that whole fight. They save her. She gets back her memory, and oh my gosh, here we go. I'll see his name very soon enough. Professor Louis Court. That's his name.
Okay.
Professor Louis Court. But her story wasn't done yet, because then it's the Thing and Mordred, the Mystic, that kind of team up, and Jessica still shows up in that issue, and they're still over in the UK. So she had a good run before she had her original 50 issue run on her own. And her 50 issue run, I brought her back to the States, but then it still took her back to the UK. And as I said, she was dealing with S.H.I.E.L.D., she was dealing with Hydra, she dealt with mystic villains, and werewolves, and this is who she fought. So there was a lot going on with this character. I think she can still, and I mean, look, Shang-Chi just came out. All right. We know there's talking of Fantastic Four. Okay. So I like these characters that are a gateway to a lot of other characters and storylines.
Right. And the way I'll even segue off of that is that because of Shang-Chi and the mystical aspect of it, we had Doctor Strange, and now we have Shang-Chi. So we're now going towards that type of avenue, that venue of that lane of
Yes.
now it's mystical. Now we can do some action with mystical. Not saying that you didn't have any action with the other two that I just mentioned, but now you can see some type of, like you're saying, spy type of networking, Hydra, mystical art with Mordred. She also, there's one time she was also, she fouled up Morgan Le Fay
Yes.
in a piece of action that she was trying to do, where Morgan Le Fay was trying to get a hold of the Darkhold
Yes.
book, which we already know is already presented in the MCU with Vision, WandaVision. Again, so there's a lot of connections, a lot of ties that we can actually see this character actually making. Has the opportunity, like the possibilities are there. Like there's enough threads that you can actually sew together and actually bring this in. It will make some good decent sense.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
So the mystical aspect of it is a great aspect, again, that you can kind of lean on from there and pull from that aspect as well. That's all I'm thinking about it, because once you're not talking about Mordred and Morgan, I'm mentioning Morgan, but if you bring in the High Evolutionary, that's again, you know what? That's a perfect way of even bringing it, because now we're about to bring into the world of the Eternals.
Exactly. So with the Eternals coming in and High Evolutionary being there, come on.
It's an easy door to
It's
down.
An easy segue.
It's an easy segue. It's a door to down that you can easily say, like, stagger out that door, go down the hallway, make a second door in. It's easy. It's not a far fetch. It's not far
No,
fetch.
no, not at all.
Mhm.
And as you were saying before, right? So you mentioned they brought in the Darkhold. We got Doctor Strange. So it would make more sense for her to have adventures with Doctor Strange if you want to have someone from the Spider Universe without using Spider-Man, so to speak, right? Because the Spider-Man, you always got to go with Sony and they have to hash out that deal. With Spider-Woman, we good? We good, son? We good?
Let's do it.
Do it.
Yeah.
We good? Yeah. Absolutely. So, I and it's going to take a different take on it. It's not going to be your classic. She's going to be she does at one point cross paths with Spider-Man, but their backstories are so different. They're as different as Peter Parker being a man and Jessica Drew being a woman. There's no common ground. They share the spider name. Their powers are spider induced. They both have powers spider induced because of radiation, and that's where the similarities stop.
Correct.
Right? That's exactly where the similarities stop. For who their training is, outside of costume, in costume, their origins, that's where the training stops. So yes, they both had experienced death, but she was lied to, used, and she's really embedded in the spy world. She was trained to be a spy for Hydra, a spy / assassin for Hydra. And because of her moral code, she flips over and works for S.H.I.E.L.D. That there is, come on now, right? And then S.H.I.E.L.D., of course, S.H.I.E.L.D.'s supposed to be there for everything. And now that this arc of Marvel Phase 4 seems to be more magic-based and cosmic-based than the previous ones, the previous three. The first one led up to, more of a cosmic entity. This now, Phase 4 is cosmic and magic.
Yes.
Right. So this is why there's more of an emphasis with Doctor Strange, Shang-Chi, WandaVision. It's all more magic based than anything else. The Eternals coming in, and so that's magic into the cosmic. She would be a good character to bring in, across all of them. And this is what I miss. And this character had a lot of legs. So this is just one medium that she was in. She also had her own cartoon series.
Yep.
Right? She had her own, that's how strong she stood. She had her own cartoon series back in the day where she worked as something, a reporter, or she worked at a magazine. She worked at a magazine company. Right? Come on. This, okay, I get it. She was a CEO of a magazine company. She was a lead. I think if we go back and touch on this, it can go again.
Listen, it's an easy alley-oop. I mean, this can definitely work out. That we're already accustomed to the Spider-Man. We're already especially to the Spider-Man's lore.
Yes.
And then when they went into the Spider Universe lore, so now they just open up the doors because everybody do know about Spider-Woman, Gwen, Spider, and stuff like that. So it's slowly now becoming, it's not a far fetch. And the great thing, like you just said, she already had some type of entity outside of comic books. So she had cartoons, she's had, different little appearances and stuff like that. So it's not a far fetch to say, hey, this IP actually made it to a screen. Made it to a small screen, made it to a screen.
Yes, it did. And it had some legs, right? Because, okay, we said 1977 was her first appearance in comic books, right? In the cartoon series. So the cartoon series ran for 16 episodes. It was only one season. So they're about, half an hour episodes. Okay, 22 minutes. Let's just say 22-minute episode once take out the commercials, right? And it ran on ABC from, September 22nd, 1979 up to January 5th, 1980. So that's when that cartoon ran. Interestingly enough, the voices of the characters, okay, so the voice for Jessica was Joan Van Ark.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people are going to go, who is Joan Van Ark, right? Now we're going old school. You got to watch Dynasty. Not Dynasty, the remake, the original Dynasty with Who Shot JR? The Carringtons, yes, that's where she came from. That actress went on such iconic role that was the voice of Jessica. And there was other great actors on there, but I'm just saying that's the one for me. Joan Van Ark what if Dynasty, if you don't know Dynasty, look up Dynasty, with Joan Collins and Joan Van Ark. They had a classic scene that everyone talked about at the time because, for example, Dynasty was one of the few shows at the time that used words on camera that usually were not allowed on camera at the time. So it was the first show, and they made a lot of headwaves, and it was fine. They didn't bleep it out. They used the word, the bitch, right? That was the first time on TV they used that without being bleeped out. And then, Joan Collins and Joan got into a big fight in these nice $1,000, like true $1,000 gowns each, and got into a fist fight, at an event, and they ended up falling in the pool, and the gowns get, wrecked, and everyone's like, oh my God, they spent so much money on these gowns. They look so great. And you guys just wreck them that way, but this was a scene. This was like not drama. This was a scene in that show. Everyone was like, oh my gosh, like, and you use the B word. Wow. Like that at the time. Now, this day and age, it's like, whatever, you hear way worse on TV. But back then it was like, they said that on prime time. So
those days, those were Joan. Yeah. Go ahead.
Joan Van Ark. Yeah, that's where it came out. And you can find some of those, Spider-Woman animated series on YouTube, just like us. We're on YouTube. And you can look it up, but it was, that's to show you the arc. And I guess Marvel also trying to protect the rights of the character.
Mm-hmm. Doing what they got to do. But yeah, that's basically it. I'm just saying that, what, this IP has literally, excuse me, not to sound like cliche, but she has some legs to stand on. She has a couple of legs to stand on. And, but you know what? It's going to work out. I think it's going to do good. I'm just seeing right here, I actually came across something that, I did forget. I did say it, but I forgot that I actually had it in my little side notes here. That looks like they're planning to have, a Jessica Drew and Gwen Stacy will appear in a female-centered spinoff to Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, alongside Cindy Moon, Silk. So there's plans for this in the film to be coming out. So let's just, hope that let's just, cross our fingers, whatever we got to do, and just say, listen, let's hold on, let that not hit the cutting board, and peace be with you. And
live long and prosper. Sorry. But yeah, absolutely. Let it
breathe.
Let it be. Because, here's where you can put it. You put her into the, if the character had to do a live appearance, right? So I'll look at two prongs here. So if the character had to do a live appearance, the character can be put into a Shield, like Agents of Shield. Yes, it's ended. Okay, but that went in a different direction that I thought would have go. But it could be put into a Shield world environment with Hydra, because that's still going on pretty much up to now. So that's one aspect.
Because and the segue off of that, they've already done that when they did that with Black Widow. Because literally, Black Widow was a double agent from Russia, and they brought her in. So you can basically have the ability of having an agent come into, hire her, bring her in, indoctrinate her into Shield world. So you've done it before. It can easily be done. So that storyline isn't far-fetched.
No, not at all. I mean, we can even do, like, if you do a proper, like I say, standalone Spider-Woman origin story, and you bring in Hydra, you can kind of do flashbacks into the past movies with Hydra, because, Nick Fury wasn't just dealing with the Avengers. Nick Fury was dealing with the security of the North American world, right? So he's doing more than one mission. So you could simply say, very similar how he was. Okay, he was dealing with this with the Avengers. While this was going on, he went someplace else. While the Avengers were dealing with issue A, he went to deal with other things in-house because he had an idea, and let that been a flashback catalyst for him finding out about Hydra coming into Shield. And then, and the storyline would be very similar with, okay, Hydra came in, Spider-Woman almost kills off Nick Fury. He follows her back. They attack Hydra headquarters, one of their cells, and it could be a true mini Shield, chapter in a Spider-Woman movie that would still not change the function of the MCU. You wouldn't say, oh, that's impossible. It's like, oh, so when Captain America and all those guys were overseas doing this, he was over here doing that. Right. And he's not going to tell them every time he comes across somebody, because he only gives them information when they need information. He's a spy. he's not going to say, "Oh, by the way, I went over here," and he doesn't have to explain his actions to them. They have to explain to him because he's the boss.
You don't
So
pay my bill. Come on.
so that's it. So Samuel L. Jackson, we got you another experience, man. We got you another appearance in another movie that could be happening.
This is what we do.
Right. And so that's one whole thing. And then you can go into a whole aspect of, okay, well, she's run into Mordred and Morgana, and and the magical aspect, the magic sword. So she can get into that. She's over in the UK quite a bit. She does join Shield. She does join Sword. She does join the Avengers at one point. At one point, she gives it up and she opens a kind of a private detective agency, and then she gets back into costume. There's so much that you can do with this character that, even if you take aspects from the cartoon and okay, she's running a magazine, I maybe a little bit cliche, but from her true origins, the pulp paper origins, there's a lot. And she's got a good cast of other supporting characters can help her, and I'm reading the first couple of issues of her own series. When she got here, she was like pretty much homeless. She's looking around for a job. People thought she was weird. She had a weird vibe. They didn't know how to approach her. She's like, oh, she's pretty, but there's something awkward about her. She gives off a weird vibe, and everyone comments about this weird vibe that she has because she thinks that she's not even human still at some points, or she's still processing everything. So she's I don't know. Sometimes you meet people and they give you like a kind of a, man, that person's kind of weird. They even say anything to you. They're like, yeah, that person's kind of creepy. I'm not going to bother with them. And it's just going to be the look in the eye she gives. And she might be looking at people, but no recognition, no emotion behind it. And it just puts people on edge. So that was her at first. And I think they can play off of that a lot more because she's not comfortable being around people, because a lot of her life was where she would get her social skills. She was in suspended animation getting bombarded by, radiation by the high evolutionary from the age of 10 to the age of 17. So she didn't really interact with much people. And then when she came up, she was in a very small town. And then in her own series, she's in New York, of course, surrounded in a big city. Come on, you go from being in a small city, not having many people, you were hunted, and now you put in a big city. She's got to have a certain, I guess, edginess to her, like uneasiness. That's what I'm looking for, right? You're not comfortable being there. You're not comfortable walking down the street. You're going to be, okay, that person's acting kind of weird. Let me just walk around them, Yeah. So that's my thing on this. So, Rod, if we had to turn around and do this character live action, and for me, whoever I know I'm going to pick, I can do it live action, and the same actress can still do it if they had to do a cartoon series. That's what I was getting at one point. Is I like my cartoon series. So,
right.
That being said, I mean, I like the if you're gonna do a good cartoon series, not a wacky one, not a cheesy one, not a cliche one, it really like how Spectacular Spider-Man was. It was action. It was really good. And some of the other one that Marvel's done some really good ones in the past. So don't make it kiddish. Let's keep it, or do a direct to DVD movie on Disney Plus, or even a Disney Plus series. A Disney Plus series would be awesome. So who do you see as your Spider-Woman?
Well,
my
Spider-Woman. You know what? I was going from the aspect of going off of, say, so Jessica Drew. She has that. I'm not saying stubbornness. She's very determined.
Yes.
Like, when she's focused on getting her job done. So basically, when she was being under the mind, the guidance of Hydra, but she didn't understand she was at that time. When she was going and she was getting, you can find online, you can find the origin from Spider-Woman. You'll see that she was being trained by Taskmaster, and the way she was being taught from him, he's just basically Taskmaster. He'll see your moves and be able to just put it on you, right, and give you different techniques. And basically, she wasn't the greatest student, but she didn't let that stop her. She was quite determined. She said, I'm going to beat you. I'm going to get by you, whatever the case, and do whatever the task is to show you that I'm worthy to be an agent of Hydra type of scenario.
Yeah.
She had that determination. So there's certain things like that. Her appearance and how she is, well built and everything like that. And, at least the way you see her drawn and everything like that. So I had a flashback of somebody, and I thought, you know what? You may actually be a good candidate. So I was thinking of Cassidy Freeman. Now, Cassidy Freeman, who is that? If you remember Smallville, and that's the most common one I would say. So if you
Mhm.
remember Smallville, if you remember Tess Mercer,
Yes.
aka Lena Luthor,
Oh.
I
Oh.
was going to pitch her as being my Jessica Drew.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. You see, I'm just looking at the picture right now. Like I can just literally see, you know, I can see I can see I can see her Jessica. I can see Cassidy right there. I can see her right there. It's like that.
Okay. Okay. All right. All right. All right. All right. Good call. Wow. Wow. All right.
You
Well,
know.
thanks for tuning in today's show.
But we're out!
Oh, man. Mike Mega Drop. Geez. Uh, okay. Touche.
Well, thank you. You know, touche. You know, she had some actions and stuff like that, you know, in the show and stuff like that. So, you know, I think she should be able to at least pull off any action type of stunts that's required, you know, and
Mm.
stuff like that. But I feel I feel I should be able to do that. That's
Okay. Yeah.
so.
Let me take a sip. Let me take a sip of the tea.
Take a sip. Take a sip. Take a sip. Just like something like you said earlier, you know, off camera. You sure you want me to go first?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay. No, I got to taste my own medicine. I got to taste my own medicine. Yeah.
That was an inside side joke, but wow, I just realized like, okay, seeing that you
Yeah.
liked it, I guess I did good.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. Okay. Sorry. I'm still getting over the initial blows and shocks that. All right then. All right. I had a couple of people in mind.
That's gonna. I'm putting all my cards on the table. Who
No.
can stand?
I had one choice, and I'm gonna stick with my original choice.
Okay.
Even though I see there's still other people in my mind I can play it, and I might, do. But so my initial choice, a little bit out there, and I think the actress really could pull it off because I've seen some of the stuff she's done, and I think given the material, if she can get a little bit more grittier, I definitely, I feel she can do it.
Mhm.
I was going with Jessica Love Hewitt.
Okay.
Yeah. Jessica Love Hewitt. So I know right now she's on that TV show like 911 with Angela Bassett and right. And looking at her, she did a series before, and I can't remember the name of it, where she was, I'll look it up. She was able to see dead people, so to speak. It was almost like 6 seconds. So, all these people that had passed, like spirits and ghosts and all that, would approach her, and she would be able to see them, help them through so it was kind of a little bit darkish, but she brought a lightness to it. So she owned a flower shop. She would see them, and then she would help them kind of cross over to the other side. And that was her show. So I picked her because, one, I think she would pull off, this character, out of costume easy, with the awkwardness, dealing with the stress and all that. I've seen some of her stuff in 911 with Angela Bassett, and she handles that serious material really well. And I think given the material, she would really be a good Jessica Drew.
Okay.
Right. I like her voice. She's, she can play some of the darkness of her past, not making light of it. Mm-hmm. But you want a character that's going to be relatable and likable to watch. You want to see them go through their struggles and come through. I've seen her in roles where she's got to be the tough person. So I was really, that was who I was going for. Let's see, Jessica Love Hewitt. She's been acting for years.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Oh, yeah. The show was called Ghost Whisperer. That was the show.
Okay.
And she was a center person for it. So yeah, right now she's on 911. She did the Client List,
right,
which was another kind of show. Hold on. I'm just reading it here. So she can do it. She if you see her stuff like Client List, 911, the Ghost Whisperer, Jessica Love Hewitt, I really think could pull off this character.
Pull that off. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know she might not be an A-lister, and that's fine.
Hmm.
she's still up there, like as a,
Oh
she,
yeah, oh
yeah,
yeah, yeah. She's a name. She's a name that people know. Listen, her
she's
not a
known,
big
she's
break.
well known, and
Well, yeah,
she's,
exactly.
I would say she's an A-lister.
Party of
I
five.
would say, yeah, Party of Five. Come on, she's an A-lister. She's gone and went from being a character, playing a character on a show, I said Party of Five, where she's been the headline. She was the main person behind her own series, so she could. You need an actress that they're going to believe that is going to be able to put the project on her shoulders and go with it. Just
Hmm.
her name alone, Jessica Love Hewitt's gonna be playing Spider Woman. Oh, absolutely. Then as opposed to an unknown, the unknown has to kind of prove themselves more. This is gonna
her
give a
name has
box
weight.
off. Yeah,
Her name has weight. Her name has weight.
the
So it's
name
not,
has weight,
yeah.
right?
Don't do that.
I definitely
Respect my
think
authority. Respect my authority. And that's how
exactly.
it is. Just put some name on it. Put some respect on the name.
Put some respect on her name.
Yeah.
So Jessica Love Hewitt, she's in great shape.
Mm-hmm.
She can play that darkness. She can. If you watch her show, The Ghost Whisperer, I watched that show, and she can play that awkwardness where people would look at her and say, "Okay, there's something off with you." But and even
Yeah.
in a comic book with Spider Woman, you see these kids looking. It's like, yeah, she looks weird, but she's good looking, but she's weird, or she's cute, but she's weird. And these kids are saying that.
Right.
Jessica Love Hewitt can pull off cute and weird at the same time.
No, seriously, listen. Even as I look down what she has, I completely forgot, but I see that she was in the tuxedo with Jackie Chan, and I do vaguely
Yes,
remember that show. Vaguely remember that movie, and it was a good parody. Again, Jackie is Jackie, and she was still being the serious one out of that,
yes,
out of the two, out of
yes.
that duo. So I mean, you're talking about at least having her the ability to that she can pull off the seriousness, that's required, and she can get that little gritty and stuff like that. Yeah,
And the
I agree.
physicality of it,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Especially the physicality because of that. Because, if you're doing a movie with Jackie, you can't say that you're sitting on your seat while he's doing
No,
some action scenes. You're getting pulled in there somehow. He can make you throw a foot. He can make you throw a foot. You may
yes,
fall. He'll make sure he'll catch you drunken style, but he's going to make you do a foot, throw your foot, and try to catch you and use you in some kind of process. That's Uncle Jackie for you.
right?
Just saying.
That's Uncle Jack. You can't. So being in that with Jackie Chan,
Uncle.
I'm going. That's what I'm sticking with. I'm sticking with Jessica Love Hewitt. I think Jessica Love
Right.
Hewitt would be a good Spider Woman. That's who I was going with. And even if they had to do it live action Disney Plus series, okay, I'm still with Jessica Love Hewitt. If they had to do a
Okay.
live action big screen, I'm still with Jessica Love Hewitt. If they're
Okay.
doing a cartoon and need a voice, I'm sticking with Jessica Love Hewitt.
Okay.
Jessica Love Hewitt is who I saw as my Spider Woman. That's what you dropped the bomb right there. I was like, okay, you go, guy. You know,
Mhm.
and just to wrap it up, we'll say, okay, so her powers, the abilities that she has, right? So she
Mhm.
is a master spy. We know that. Superhuman strength, speed, durability, reflexes, and senses. No, not spider senses. She just has, heightened senses. Like she can hear further. She can see further, So she
Right.
uses those senses. She's got gliding, flying almost. She has a pheromone manipulation. So she gives off a pheromone that would kind of make people, easy around her, right?
Right.
And then she has the bioelectric energy projection, those venom blasts, as she calls it. And then she has venom blast. And then she's got wall crawling abilities. So she's got a lot of abilities that, if written in a good script or a series, would
Utilized
would
properly.
be really nice. And the fact that she's, already immersed in the world of the spy world, immersed in the magical world of who she's drawn into. And then, she can be segued to some other characters like we talked about, Deathloop the Demolisher. If they bring in the Fantastic Four, she can be in the Fantastic Four, and it's not a stretch. So people are saying, why? That's what we'll say. Know your source material.
Right.
So, right? Her and the Thing had a whole 4-issue arc run that helped. The Thing helped her get her memory back. A lot of meat.
Listen, also, we even add to this, like the abilities, those are her powers and everything, but also she has the
Yeah.
ability, she's a martial artist. She's a skilled spy. She
Yeah.
has her acrobatic skills, multilinguistic as well. But a great thing also, she's a skilled investigator. That is something that you don't see a lot. And
No.
it can be utilized very well. Again, if the script is written properly, whatever situation she's in, because basically if you really look back and sit back at any type of adventure that
Yes.
anybody's in,
Yes.
it's some type of mystery. It's I don't know where I am right now. I got to get to something, or something's lost, or someone's gone, or I need to find a missing cube, or whatever. It's a mystery. So if you have someone who actually is not really now coming in fist fighting first, is actually using intellect, that's that's a nice little segue that you can start to blossom, utilize. So if it's written
Yes.
properly, that could be used up very well. So I'll say,
Yeah.
yeah.
It'd be almost like using the detective skills, like how Jessica Jones was.
There you
She's
go.
up there, and she was, there prior to Jessica Jones, if I remember correctly. So, Spider Woman, that's it. So, my final thought is, Spider Woman. Hey, Jennifer Love Hewitt, Samuel L. Jackson, got you a job. Go up there and get that role. Rod, you're going for
Get
Spider
that
Woman. Your Spider
role.
Woman is
Cassidy Freeman. So again, listen, I'm going to tell you, like we said, you can imagine it. She has the physique, the build, she has the grit. So she can show that type of anger, and you can look straight into her eyes and realize, like, I'm not going to say anything else because she's going to throw me across the room. And that's just Cassidy as an actress. Imagine
yes,
she has the power behind her. You're getting flung a little farther across the wall into a wall
5
through
across
a
the
window.
eyes.
5 spread out across the eyeball, your boy. And that's what possible by Cassidy Freeman. Thank you. You can be
You're welcome.
free.
You're welcome.
Free with the man within.
Cool. Look, on that note, we're going to say this. Once again, everyone, thank you for tuning into the Iconist podcast. I'm your host.
Yes.
One of your hosts, Barry 3D. I'm here with
DJ Rod C. Yes.
Hit It. Check our links below. Please like, share, subscribe. Get it out there. Download the podcast. Check out the merch. You know where to find everything. You can go to barry3d.com. And we have other links. I'll have my link tree below. Rod will have his link tree below once he gets to me. Hint, hint. And
oh, I got to go. I'll be right back.
Oh, shoot. And on that
Wrong
note,
direction.
remember, this whole world started with a pencil, a piece of paper, and imagination. Keep on dreaming. Thank you.
And we're out of here. I'm loving it.